There was a point in time where Mesut Özil was the greatest playmaker in football. He was getting more assists than everybody and was providing ridiculous passes that nobody could expect. However, even though Özil was extremely talented and was one of the most valuable players in the world, he eventually had a decline which led him to become a bench warmer and spent the last few years of his career in the Turkish league. So, how did Özil go from being on top of the footballing world to a forgotten superstar? Well, let's take a look at the rise and fall of Özil's career. Mesut Özil was born on October 15th, 1988 in a place called Gelsenkirchen in Germany. He was always talented in football, and while he was a teenager, he joined the academy of one of the biggest clubs in Germany, Schalke. Eventually, he made it up from the youth ranks and started to play for the Schalke senior team. He was often described as the next big thing from Schalke coaches since he was seen as extremely talented. His stats weren't the best though, with him getting 2 goals and 5 assists in 30 games in his first full season at Schalke. However, the stats don't do him justice on how good he actually was. Anyway, Özil's stint at Schalke didn't last long despite the club giving Özil his first taste of senior football. Basically, Özil felt like he deserved a bigger salary than the one offered, which was only 1.5 million euros per year. Due to him declining this offer, he fell out with the club management, and this led him to join Werder Bremen in January 2008, where he really started to make a name for himself. Özil's first season at Werder Bremen already had him as one of the top playmakers in the Bundesliga, despite Bremen placing 10th in the Bundesliga that campaign. That's because in 47 games in his first season, he got 5 goals and also got 23 assists. 23 assists when he was only 20 years old? That's ridiculous. That's not it though, because he also played a major role in Werder Bremen winning the DFB Pokal Cup, with him getting the winning goal in a 1-0 win over Leverkusen. Basically, Özil was putting Werder Bremen on his back despite being very young. However, his second season at Bremen was even more impressive. That's because in 46 games, he managed to double his goal tally with him getting 10 goals, and also somehow got more assists with him getting 29 assists. These stats from Özil helped Werder Bremen go from that previous 10th place finish to a 3rd place finish in the Bundesliga, helping them qualify for the Champions League. Overall, in 2 seasons for Bremen, Özil managed to get over 50 assists for the club. He was definitely the top playmaker in the Bundesliga at that time, and he was recognized for this when he won the best player of the first half of the season. Not only that, his amazing performances caught the eye of the German national team, and he was selected to be in the 2010 World Cup roster for the country, despite Germany being a very stacked team filled with legendary players like Schweinsteiger, Khedira, Podolski, Muller, Kroos, etc. Not only was Özil selected to be part of the squad, but he also played a crucial role in Germany's 3rd place finish at the World Cup, due to the fact that he started every single game. Additionally, he provided an assist in the 4-0 victory against Australia, scored a left-footed half volley from the edge of the penalty area against Ghana in the final group stage game, which made sure that Germany progressed in the knockout stages as the group winners. He also set up the 4th goal against England in the round 16, and then assisted the 2nd goal against Argentina to go to the semi-finals. He performed so well at his first World Cup that FIFA even announced that he was one of the top 10 best players at the tournament. These amazing performances for Özil had big clubs like Barcelona, Arsenal, and Manchester United taking a look at him. In fact, Wayne Rooney even pleaded to Sir Alex Ferguson to sign the German playmaker. However, he denied all those clubs because he instead joined the biggest club of them all, Real Madrid, for around 15 million euros. It's crazy because Özil was perfectly fine to stay at Werder Bremen for a little bit longer, but he said rejecting Real Madrid was impossible, stating, "Let's be honest, you don't refuse Real Madrid. I was in no rush to leave Werder Bremen, but this is one club you say yes to." When Özil signed for Real Madrid, he wasn't meant to be the starter. I mean, how could he be when starter playmaker Ricardo Kaká was on the team, and he's a Ballon d'Or winner and a main player in the squad? However, Kaká suffered a lot of injuries, which gave Özil a lot of opportunities to seize his place in the team, and that's exactly what he did. That's because in his very first season for the Spanish club, he managed to get 10 goals and 29 assists in 54 games. Almost immediately, he was racking up a similar amount of assists like he was at Werder Bremen, even though La Liga is more commonly known to be more difficult than the Bundesliga. Also, another big factor for Özil's successful assists has to be because of the striker he was playing with, Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo rarely misses big chances, and Özil creates a ton of big chances. It was a great combination that will continue for some time. In fact, in the following season, Real Madrid won La Liga by achieving 100 points, the first ever La Liga club to do that, and Özil played a huge role in that, racking up similar stats from last season, with him getting 7 goals and 28 assists in 52 games. This meant that Özil finished the season with the most assists in La Liga and also managed to make the Ballon d'Or shortlist as well. Additionally, he was nominated for UEFA's Best Player of the Year award, and although he didn't win it, he was the youngest player to ever be nominated for the award. La Liga was basically like a playground for Özil, and he was just toying with defenders with his amazing dribbling technique and his laser-sharp vision. After this amazing season came the 2012 Euros, and Germany were heavy favorites to win the competition, and a huge reason for that was because of Özil, because of how he led Germany's qualification for the tournament. Scoring 5 times, he got 7 assists in the qualification process as Germany won every single game. Özil was also coming off winning Germany's Best International Player of the Year award in 2011, putting a ton of pressure on him to lead the German national team at the Euros even though he was still pretty young. Now talking about the tournament itself, Germany topped the group of death, which consisted of Portugal, Netherlands, and Denmark, and got an assist in the game against Denmark to ensure they topped the group. Then in the quarterfinal game against Greece, Özil managed to get 2 assists to send Germany through to the next round. And then in the semifinals, even though they were the favorites, Germany lost to Italy 2-1. However, Ozil was one of the shining stars in that game for Germany because he managed to get the solo goal for the country. Also, even though Germany didn't end up winning the Euros, Ozil was still recognized for his amazing performances for his country as he went on to finish the tournament with the most assists and also made the team of the tournament. Going back to Real Madrid, Ozil became the leading assist maker in La Liga again, with him getting 10 goals and 25 assists in 52 games, with him also getting around 3.5 key passes every game. Overall, he finished his Real Madrid career by getting 81 assists in only 3 seasons, and statistically got an assist in every other game he played for the club. That's extremely impressive for Ozil, and he quickly became one of the most valuable players on the planet, and definitely the best playmaker at the time. He was also on pace to become the all-time assist leader in football history if he continued to put up similar number of assists every season for Real Madrid. However, the thing is, he left Real Madrid in the summer. Why? Even though he was enjoying his time at Real Madrid and won a ton of trophies, like La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Spanish Super Cup, he apparently got into a disagreement with the new coach Carlo Ancelotti. Ozil felt like he was being phased out because of the new midfielder signings at the club, like Isco, Modric, and even Gareth Bale. Ozil believed he was being shifted out of the starting lineup in the club and he didn't want to become a bench warmer. That's why in the summer, Ozil signed for Premier League giants Arsenal for around 50 million euros, which made him the most expensive German footballer at the time. He said Arsene Wenger made him feel wanted, which swayed him away from Real Madrid, and even Cristiano Ronaldo was pissed about Ozil leaving, saying Ozil was a player who best knew my moves in front of goal. I'm angry about Ozil leaving. Ozil wasted no time with his new club, with him getting an assist in his debut against Sunderland, and then the following week got 3 assists against Stoke City. Overall, in his first season in the Premier League, he did pretty well, with him getting 7 goals and 14 assists in 42 games. Obviously, these stats aren't near as good as his Real Madrid days. However, that isn't just Ozil's fault. I mean, he went from playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best players to have ever played the game, to Giroud. Now, no disrespect to Giroud because he's awesome, but he's still a downgrade to Ronaldo and wasted a decent amount of chances back at Arsenal. Not only that though, Ozil helped vanquish Arsenal's 9-year trophy drought with an FA Cup triumph over Hull City. So even though Ozil's personal stats weren't great, he was still helping Arsenal out a lot. Now let's go to the 2014 World Cup, where Ozil was obviously called up to the squad. However, before we talk about that, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and you can always unsubscribe later in the future if you want to. Thank you. Now back to Ozil, there was a ton of pressure on the star due to the fact that he led Germany in the qualification process, being the country's top scorer with 8 goals. Onto the actual tournament, Ozil yet again played a huge role for Germany, and this time he helped Germany win the entire tournament, being the first European country to win the World Cup in South America. Ozil also started every game for the Germans and scored the decisive goal in the 119th minute of Germany's 2-1 round 16 victory over Algeria. Then he also provided an assist to Sami Khedira in Germany's 7-1 destruction of Brazil in the semi-final. Ozil played a huge role in Germany winning the World Cup due to the fact that he concluded the tournament as a leader in passes completed in the final third with 171 passes, being joint second in chances created with 17 chances, and also ranked second overall in possessions won in the final third with 6. Back to Arsenal now, Ozil recorded his worst season statistically in a very long time, with him only getting 5 goals and 9 assists in 32 games. However, stats don't tell the whole story because Ozil was still very influential in Arsenal winning the FA Cup back-to-back, despite the season being flooded with injuries for the German playmaker. Now the 15-16 season for Mesut Özil was where he really came to life for Arsenal, and he dominated the Premier League with his crafty playmaking abilities. He finished off the season with 8 goals and 20 assists in 45 games, which won him the Arsenal Player of the Season award. Not only that though, Ozil finished off the season being the player who created the most chances in the Prem with 146 chances, and this also meant he broke the initial Premier League record. He also finished the season as the Premier League assist leader as well, and he was also included in the PFA Team of the Year, which is obviously a huge honor, and also finished in the top 10 list for the Ballon d'Or. Safe to say, Ozil enjoyed the 15-16 season a lot, and the football community recognized that. Then over the summer during Euro 2016, Ozil performed extremely well. He assisted the winner in the game against Ukraine in the 92nd minute, and also completed an astonishing 99% of his passes in the game against Northern Ireland. Ozil also scored a penalty against Italy in the quarterfinals, which helped send the Germans through to the semis, even though they lost to France there. Overall, Ozil had an impressive tournament, with him completing a 95% passing accuracy for the entire Euros. This guy just doesn't miss the mark. Ozil went on to enjoy the next couple of seasons with Arsenal, with him getting 12 goals and 15 assists in 44 games in the 16-17 season, where he also helped Arsenal win the FA Cup for the 3rd time, and this time against rivals Chelsea. Then in the 17-18 season, even though there was a decline in production, Ozil still managed to get 5 goals and 15 assists in 35 games. Right after the club season, he went on to play for Germany at the 2018 World Cup, which was Ozil's 3rd World Cup. However, Germany disappointed, with them finishing bottom of the group at the tournament. Even though Germany was disappointing, Ozil was actually one of the bright performers for the country at the tournament, with him creating the most chances per 90 than anyone else in the competition, despite Germany being eliminated in the group stages. Sadly, this was the last time Ozil was going to have amazing production in terms of creating chances and getting assists. This is because back at Arsenal, Arsene Wenger retired and Unai Emery stepped in as coach. However, Unai Emery's approach at Arsenal didn't really involve Ozil in his plans, and ultimately didn't utilize him as much. The decline of Mesut Özil became very evident by the time the 18-19 season was over, with him only getting 6 goals and 3 assists in 35 games. games. Ozil always dropped double digits in assists and oftentimes finished as the leader of assists in the Prem as well. However, he managed to drop a measly 3 assists in Unai Emery's first season. This downfall of Ozil became so apparent after the campaign finished. The next 1920 season, Ozil was being utilized for Arsenal even less. In a grand total of 23 games, Ozil only managed to get 1 singular goal and the same 3 assists. However, there was more to Ozil's decline in this campaign than him not being involved in Unai Emery's plans. That's because in the middle of the campaign, Ozil, who is a Muslim and of Turkish descent, posted on social media criticizing the treatment of Uyghur Muslims in China and how they were seen as warriors to him and the rest of the Muslim world. Obviously, China wasn't pleased with Ozil's comments about their country and the treatment of Uyghur Muslims, so the country decided to drop the coverage of Arsenal's next game as a punishment. That's not the worst thing in the world though, because who cares if China dropped 1 Arsenal game? The worst part out of all of this is that instead of Arsenal backing their own player, they decided to distance themselves from Mesut Özil, stating that the club doesn't involve themselves in politics. It's funny how Arsenal are in full support of Ukraine, in which rightfully so by the way, I am too, but they were so quick to dismiss Ozil after his support for Uyghur Muslims. Then for the following 2021 season, it seemed like the head of Arsenal management was shunning Mesut Özil and were furious about his public support for Uyghur Muslims. This is because Ozil was left out of the club squad for the Europa League group stage and was also omitted from Arsenal's 25-man Premier League squad, making him only eligible for the U23 squad. Ozil obviously expressed his disappointment, but in January 2021, he joined the Turkish club Fenerbahce as a free agent because his contract with Arsenal was terminated. The treatment of Ozil after he's done so much for Arsenal is pretty absurd, not gonna lie. Ozil finally started to play football more consistently again. However, his 6-month spell for the remainder of the 2021 season wasn't that successful, with him only getting 1 assist in 11 games for the Turkish Giants. He did better in the second season for Fenerbahce, his first full season, with him getting 9 goals and 2 assists in 26 games. It's an improvement compared to his last few seasons in football, but it wasn't anything like his older days. His last ever season was the 2022-23 season, where Ozil managed to play 8 games for his new club, Istanbul Başakşehir, but got 0 goals and 0 assists. He was also continuously struggling with injuries during the season, and this played a role in him recently deciding to hang up his boots and retire from the beautiful game at just 34 years old. Mesut Özil was clearly one of the most talented playmakers of this generation, and I believe he could have been easily the top assister in football of all time if he stayed in an extremely offensive team like Real Madrid. However, Ozil's decline became evident in his later years of Arsenal when he was shunned from the squad with one reason or another, and he had a surprising retirement while playing over in Turkey. Honestly, Ozil could have made so much more history than he did, but he still overall had a very successful career that he should be proud of, and I'm sure he is. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about another Premier League superstar, Heung-min Son, you definitely want to check out this video. I highly recommend it.